So the reaction on the part of the political leadership in the West, was very insane, I should say. Instead of condemning both the indecent behavior of the writer and the indecent language of the book, also, of course, the misconduct of Imam Khomeini, they just singled out Khomeini and Islam for taking their private revenge against the behavior of Iran. Now this complicated affairs further, and the Muslim world, in principle, not in principle let's say, but out of natural affiliation, started siding with Khomeini. Now remember this, that there are very few Shias in England, for instance, and very few Shias in other European countries as compared to the Sunnites. But the majority of Sunnites, in this case, started following Khomeini's camp because they were infuriated themselves and they thought he had given them an opportunity to express their indignation. Now this is one aspect which, as a result of politicization of an issue, which could be more sanely settled and handled. On the other hand, as far as Islam is concerned, I assure you that there is no punishment against blasphemy whatsoever. The Holy Quran mentions various possibilities of blasphemy, starting from blasphemy against God, and still does not permit anyone to punish the blasphemer. I can quote verses after verses where many situations are discussed, and in the end you find that it is for the God to take the decision of punishment and not for the man to take this matter into his own hand. For instance, it is mentioned, and in a very beautiful way, the Muslims are addressed not to blaspheme against the idols of idol worshippers. Now, what a beautiful way of preventing such ugly occurrences. Instead of addressing the idol worshippers and telling them not to blaspheme against God, the Holy Quran says, وَلَا تَسُبُّوا الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ فَيَسُبُّوا اللَّهَ عَدْوًا بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ كَذَلِكَ زَيَّنَّا لِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ عَمَلَهُمْ ثُمَّ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ مَرْجِعُهُمْ فَيُنَبِّئُهُم بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. O believers, never abuse the imaginary gods of idol worshippers. If you do that, then apart from other things it's implied, they will retaliate, and you will provide them with the right to abuse God, the real one. So what a bad bargain it would be to abuse the imaginary gods and in retaliation to invite those infuriated people to abuse the real God which exists. And no punishment is mentioned against this blasphemy. Only God says, then you will all return to God himself and he will decide who was right and who was wrong. Now this is one type of blasphemy. Another type of blasphemy is mentioned vis-a-vis the Christian belief that Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, was Son of God. According to the Holy Quran, this is a blasphemy again against God. To believe that he gave birth through a human mother to a literal son, according to the Holy Quran, is blasphemy against God. So it says, كَبُرَتْ كَلِمَةً تَخْرُجُ مِنْ أَفْوَاهِهِمْ إِنْ يَقُولُونَ إِلَّا كَذِبًا. It's enormous. It is an enormity what they say about God, and this is disgraceful. But no punishment. As far as human beings are concerned, no punishment is mentioned. Then the same issue is given a different turn, and now the Jews are blamed for blasphemy against Jesus Christ and his mother. It says, وَقَالِهِمْ وَقَالِهِمْ عَلَى مَرْيَمَ بُهْتَانًا عَظِيمًا. The Jews were condemned by God because they claimed that Mary was not a chaste woman, and Jesus Christ was an illegitimate son. So this was the other end of the blasphemy, committed against Jesus Christ this time and his Holy Mother. Yet no punishment is mentioned. Now comes the turn of the Holy Prophet himself. Blasphemy was committed in his lifetime against him, in his presence, while he was present in the company, generally I mean, and the matter was reported to him. This incident has also been quoted in the Holy Quran, and the details of this incident we receive from authentic traditions and history. And this is not controversial at all, because every Muslim sect believes in this incident as I'm going to relate to you. While returning from an expedition which was very hard on those who participated in it, and it appeared to be a failure, because it was reported that the enemy had amassed its forces somewhere. The summer was very inclement, it was very hot and very unkind, and the expedition was long. But when the whole expedition reached that place, they found that there was no enemy concentration at all. It was perhaps a false report. So they returned. And of course everybody was suffering so much. At that time, one of the hypocrites of Medina, who was erstwhile supposed to rise to great leadership and was supposed to be the person for the future leadership of Medina, but whose hopes were shattered with the coming of Prophet Muhammad. He was extremely jealous of him, although he accepted him verbally, outwardly, but he was known to be a great hypocrite. Now this man was also included in this expedition. So he thought that it was time for him to take his revenge. Now before they entered Medina, while they were resting a day's journey from Medina, he in his company mentioned that when we return to Medina, the noblest among them would turn out of Medina the meanest among them. And the message was of course understood by everybody, that by meanest he refers to the Holy Prophet of Islam, peace be upon him. Now, everybody who heard got infuriated, but they were so disciplined and so trained by the Holy Founder of Islam that they did not take law into their own hands. One after the other, they approached the Holy Founder of Islam seeking permission to murder this man for the blasphemy he had committed against him. The answer in every case was a positive no. No question, not only of permitting them to murder him, but to take any measure of punishment against him. Now imagine, after a while, his own son approached the Holy Founder, peace be upon him, and addressed him and said, perhaps you do not permit others to take the life of my father, lest I should nourish a private grudge against those people. And later on, I'm overwhelmed by that and try to take revenge, because it was very popular in Arabia to take revenge against feudal revenges against the offenders. He said, if this is your fear, this is why you do not permit them, permit me. I am also offended. I am also infuriated. I love you so much. It is impossible for me to tolerate this insult. So please permit me to murder my own father.